September 1998. Harley Davidson was loading up trucks at the assembly plant destined to be at dealerships across the nation. And I can tell you, I know, because one of those trucks was headed to Jonesboro Harley Davidson, and it had my 99 Dyna Superglide in it that I'd been patiently waiting for 6 months. Dealer calls me up and tells me he's got one coming, but he said there's an issue. I'm like, an issue? It's a brand new bike. And he says it's not got the Evo engine, it's got the new twin cam. Well, I didn't even know Harley was making a new engine, but I had been waiting 6 months and I was kind of tired of waiting. Although I enjoyed riding my shovel head that I built, I was ready for the new bike. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger. And I don't really like being a guinea pig either, but I pulled the trigger, went and got the bike, rode it from Jonesboro back to West Memphis, Arkansas. And I'm going to tell you, I fell in love with it that moment. And I've had that bike for 25 years, rode it like I stole it, done more burnouts than Carter's got liver pills, rode it all over Hell's Half Acre. I mean, like I said, I'm really pleased with my bike. And that's not the only twin cam I ended up buying. Y'all let me know in the comments below the experiences that y'all have had with twin cams, whether or not you like them or you don't like them, because we all know the twin cam, it's kind of the engine that is either loved or hated that Harley Davidson has produced through the years. Now, after I bought the bike, I went to work for Bumpus Harley Davidson as a mechanic. And one of the things that we ran into was that the older guys that had the Evos for a little while, but they was thinking about trading in and buying one of the newer bikes, they would come to the mechanics and they would want to talk to us and ask us questions about things that they were kind of a little leery about. And the number one question that was asked was about the flywheels, the pressed flywheels. And the reason being is because they were looking at the fact that if they had to rebuild the bottom end, then they would have to buy a new flywheel. And unlike the bikes previously that were rebuildable, you know, you could re-true them, new connecting rod bearings, new connecting rod, the whole 9 yards. And so that was an issue that they were concerned with before they decided that they would make the move to the twin cam. Another issue was that twin cams don't have tappet blocks. They just have a cover right there. The lifter hole is just bored through the case. Now, that was concerning to some of the people because if it wore, then they got to buy new cases. And whereas previously you just bought new lifter blocks. Now that one kind of made me wonder, and so I contacted Powertrain Division and talked to them, and they ended up telling me, which made a lot of sense, that the metallurgy had come so far and the technology had advanced so far that the alloy, they didn't need, it could handle the work. You would wear out the motorcycle before you wore out the holes for the tappets. And so, and that made a lot of sense to me. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I just never seen one in 25 years I've been doing this. But, so that was one of the issues. Now, of course, the other issue that Harley Davidson ran into was the bearings. It was the outer bearings on the cam plate. They came from the factory initially with 2 ball bearings. They started having some failures, and I have to really look up to Harley as far as them stepping up to the plate and sending out a TSB, letting all the dealerships know that if somebody showed up with a bike and they wanted to upgrade the bearings, it was free of charge. I mean, they paid me, the factory did, but it was free to the customer. And so that was one of the early issues. Now, the other thing is, a lot of guys not real happy about the chain drive instead of the gear drive that they had become accustomed to on all the previous motorcycles they had owned. And even S&S, as you can see in this patent, they, well, I can tell you this, the main marketing aspect of the original, or the gear drive setup in the beginning, was the strength of the chain. You can even read it in the patent. You can go to the patent office and see a better copy of it. And so the shoe issue hadn't really become an issue yet. I mean, the bikes didn't have near enough miles on them, and they were still pretty young. And so the main selling point that S&S was trying to push was the gears were stronger than the chain. But I'm gonna tell you, a silent chain is pretty freaking strong. I've never even seen one break. But here's the deal. The thing is, every engine that Harley has produced, and probably most manufacturers, is always going to have some teething issues. And that's why you're going to have your early gens and then your late gens. And just like the Evo, the early Evo, it had issues with crankcases breaking or cracking. You had base gaskets that would leak. You had lifters that would fail. You had rocker boxes that would leak. And it wasn't to everybody, but it was an issue enough that they addressed it. And in '94 they came out with the late model Evo, and they really improved on all those issues that were a problem. Same as the twin cam. Think about it. The twin cam, it had its early model and then its late model. The late model, they went to the hydraulic tensioners. They quit, you know, fooling with any of the spring-loaded tensioners or anything like that. They even removed the front or the cam bearings out of the cam support plate and went back to bushings like they had used for years before that. But the thing is, does that make the engine really that bad? Like I said, you know, the shovel head, it had its teething issues. The pan head, they made lots of improvements on the pan head through the years, changed stuff up all the time. But you know, you got to think, it is the engine that Harley Davidson produced that is one of the most loved, hated engines out there. I don't know any other engine that creates so much controversy. But anyway, I'm going to end it here. Drink me a cold beer. I'll see y'all on the next one. Oh yeah, and don't forget to let me know in the comments how much you either hate or like the twin cam, your experience, and whether you'd rather see a twin cam in a ditch on fire than own one. See you on the next one.